A top U.S. House of Representatives Democrat recommended measures on Tuesday to allow members to vote and do committee work remotely, even when they are back in Washington, to comply with social distancing guidelines to prevent the spread of the coronavirus. House Democratic Majority Leader Steny Hoyer wrote to the leaders of the House Rules and Administration Committees urging them to update congressional rules to allow votes using video conferencing technology. Members of the House may be called back to Washington this week to vote in person for the first time in weeks on a nearly $500 billion relief package to help Americans deal with the coronavirus outbreak. Following calls by President Donald Trump for states to reopen despite the rising death toll, a handful of Trump's fellow Republicans in Congress have been calling for lawmakers to return to Washington sooner rather than later. The House is expected to vote on a rule change when it returns that would allow voting by proxy, but Hoyer's proposal would take it further to allow remote votes and committee work. Our goal remains reopening the Capitol complex safely, but even after the Capitol has reopened and members have returned, there will likely still be a need to make accommodations for the floor and in committees for some time to maintain the necessary social distancing, Hoyer wrote. The coronavirus outbreak has killed more than 42,000 Americans, according to a Reuters tally, the highest number in the world, and there are more than 750,000 cases. Meanwhile, U.S. Senators urge cybersecurity officials to defend health sector. A handful of U.S. senators have called on top cybersecurity officials to aggressively protect health and research organizations from potential hacking and other attacks as the country battles the coronavirus pandemic. In a letter sent on Monday, Democratic Senator Richard Blumenthal, Republican Senator Tom Cotton and 3 other senators asked the Department of Homeland Security and U.S. Cyber Command to consider action against hackers who threatened the healthcare sector. We urge you to take all necessary measures to protect these institutions during the coronavirus pandemic, they wrote in the letter to Christopher Krebs, the director of DHS Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, and General Paul Nakasone, director of the Department of Defense's National Security Agency and head of the U.S. military's Cyber Command. The letter urged the officials to consider operations to defend forward, a phrase often used as a euphemism for hacking. DHS, Cyber Command, and the NSA declined comment on the letter. Cybersecurity concerns have been bubbling in the background as the novel coronavirus spreads across the world. Some cybersecurity experts have warned that hackers' success rates are going up amid the economic turmoil and changing patterns of work triggered by the outbreak. Reuters has recently documented attempts by state-backed groups to hack into the World Health Organization. Last week, a senior FBI official warned that advanced hackers were also targeting U.S. research institutions working on coronavirus treatments. At least some of the moves called for in the letter, such as issuing guidance and calling out malicious actors publicly, already are being carried out. DHS and other government bodies have worked to raise awareness of digital threats stemming from the outbreak. Last week, a coalition of different U.S. government bodies issued a joint advisory on North Korean cyber operations.